welcome guys. Today we're just gonna do random questions with you, and so we can spread some knowledge along with coffee, I guess.
Sounds good.
Alberto is the only one who's drinking. So ideally we would like to talk about certain topics. I will go ahead and split them so we can have an idea of what we're going to talk about today. We would have strength in general, training. We're going to talk a little bit about nutrition. Both aspects, I would say, you know, going back from the diet and actually dieting in. So I think you had a few questions, JC. If you'd like to start.
One thing that we see a lot, especially for girls when they prep, is after they're done with the cutting phase, they have the fear of starting to eat back up because they think they're gonna get fat. So how do you handle that psychological effect that the diet has on these people?
Okay. Well, I think I'll kick it off then. I think that's why it's really important to have, I think, more off-season experience going into your first contest prep than on-season experience, because I know a few select female physique competitors that, for the most part, you know, they lifted weights for 4 to 5 months, and then everything after that was the dieting physique athlete. That was the rest of their experience. And what ends up happening is, you know, they see this really cool new physique, and for the most part, that's all they know. But that's not how things are. You know, I think for me, it's always been easier, besides the fact that I'm male, and, you know, there isn't, I think, as much social pressure to look a certain way. I think one thing that helps is that I spent 7 or 8 years in the off season before I decided to compete. I just lifted weights, kind of looked the part. People would ask, do you compete? Are you going to compete? That sort of stuff. So for me, it was really easy to just transition back to that body that I had prior to competing. So I think before someone competes, and I think this goes for both genders, you really need to learn to love your off-season body, you know, and understand that this is peak performance. No other sport is going to ask you to be in peak physical shape year-round. So you shouldn't expect it, especially when it comes from this sport where it's something else. It's 24/7 to keep that up. It's not just a training cycle, and that's where you ended up by appointment. So anything like that to that?
I think that it's important to tell competitors up front, female or male, just what they're getting into. Bodybuilding and its disciplines aren't, you don't do one show and then just go immediately back to everyday life immediately following that show. You know, as Lane said in his Epic Summit presentation, there's an adjustment period afterwards, and in some individuals it's not much of an adjustment, and in some it's a huge adjustment, and in some they end up worse than when they started for body composition. So the approach that I use is that I like to tell all of my clients up front, kind of give them a rundown, especially if it's female, okay, so the consequences of long-term dieting, what could possibly happen, even brief them so far as the female athlete triad, right? So you start getting amenorrhea, and then you start not depositing calcium like they're actually capable of, and then later on in life, increased risk of osteoporosis, stuff like that. So really just tell them, like, it's a long-term game. It's not an isolated incident that you're going to do in your life, so prepare for it in that way.